Hi Crane's Hearth crew, welcome back to another bullet journal setup video. It's good to see you guys, it really is. February decided to take a few punches. I know I tell you guys, we've talked about this before on the channel about how I probably don't look my age, but I am turning 40 this year, and my step-grandmother passed away earlier in February. She was 93. She was ready to go. But it brought up a lot of not great stuff. So I ended up deciding that my March theme was going to be my favorite color, which is blue. And I was going to be making sure that anytime that I looked at my Tiefossi A5 March bullet journal spreads, I would be comfortable. I would feel comforted, and yeah, so that's the main reason behind the blue. And as you guys can see, still not doing a ruler. My life is not perfect. My notebooks don't need to be either. So, here we got the calendar page, jumping right into it. And this is not the first spread in my March bullet journal, or in my Tiefossi journal, just so you guys know. I did have a Life of Journal, couple of Life of Journal pages. They are just a future log. They are a master to-do list of things that are multi-month, and in some instances multi-year, and a gratitude page for all of the months that I'm going to be in this journal. Trying to do a gratitude page every month just does not work out for me. So having a Life of Journal gratitude page made more sense. But those are the only pages that are before this. You guys can see I'm using all of it, like, I mean, it's blue. Like, we emphasized blue. Now, I have been working in this bullet journal already and rolling things over from February. And because it's a brand new journal, making sure that I haven't missed anything from, say, my husband's to-do list, from my to-do list, and whatnot. And I knew I had to get the March calendar page set up pretty dang soon. Like, I think I did this page, the calendar page, and the future log. The future log got done in late January because I knew by late January that I was going to be moving out of the B5 into the A5. So that had been set up for a while. And the main reason for that was purely because things started really getting busy. My husband is actually in the process of taking a EMT class, and he's not going to be done with that until late April probably. Although thankfully, EMT classes have several different locations, multiple locations, and he's not having to drive to Phoenix every single time he goes to class, which is 3 hours. But it's still a decent little bit of a drive. So, and then in March is also when we're getting spun up to start getting the garden put back together, getting it ready for planting. I'm helping my neighbors right now in butchering and putting up a couple of their meat sheep, which is an exhausting process. If you have never taken the time to help someone process an animal down, oh boy. I came home, I looked at my husband and was like, give me my beer. And I barely drank any of it before I passed out on the couch for a very long, hard nap. I mean, my husband came in, turned off my tablet. I woke up enough to look at him and go, don't wake me up unless it's like after 4. And he gave me a kiss on the head. And then the next thing I knew, it was an hour and maybe 10 minutes later, and he's making me an espresso. I'm like, where did that hour and 10 minutes go? Like, I was just like, what? So I was worn out for a good couple of days. And you can see here, I'm glancing back at my future log. Oh, you ever have one of those days where you have the start of a headache and you can tell, if I don't go take care of the big thing that I have for today, which for me today, it's my bullet journal video. I do apologize for any of the sniffling. It is getting into allergy season. I do have Zyrtec in my rotation, but for whatever reason, as soon as I started recording, my sinuses decided, oh, hey, now it's time to run. But you ever have one of those headaches that you can tell, I need to go take care of this and this because this headache is going to knock me on my ass? Yeah, currently dealing with that. So this might be a little bit more all over the place kind of video, but if it is, and I'm a bit more rambly than normal, I do apologize. I would have released my March setup a little bit sooner, but we had company come into town and they stayed with us for a few days, and it's kind of hard for me to work on filming stuff when I have company because I don't want them to think that I'm ignoring them for the sake of my YouTube channel. But this is also one of our older friends who knows and understands that I'm not going to be trying to entertain them 100% of the time that they are awake and present on the property. And when I have friends and family come in, the point is to let them relax and enjoy some peace and quiet here on the homestead, which means not me entertaining them 100% of the time. Now, I will let you guys know, in an A5, the 2-page calendar spread does not, I don't like how it looks. I don't like how it looks at all. So what's probably going to end up happening for April is I'm going to be changing up my calendar / beginning of the month pages. I'm going to be changing that up and how it looks. It's going to become a little bit more dashboardy. Totally a word. But I've already been in one of my scrap notebooks that's about the same size, sketching out and playing around with different spreads and whatnot so that I can see what it is that I can't come up with. This is just my weather spread. You guys have seen me do this quite a few times now. It is just keeping track of my morning low and my daily high, and then on the big box on the right hand side there, that is the side that I keep track of what the actual clouds and everything else are doing, if we get rain or we had dew or whatnot. The right hand side, we have an entirely new section of spreads, and that is a did I pay this bill tracker, because I needed that to be in a notebook that I was looking at every single day. The financial notebook that I had previously done, I actually had to revamp, and I now use an online digital spreadsheet that my husband has access to because it's easier to make sure that he and I are on the same page that way. And this is just me trying to make sure that I don't forget any of the stuff that we pay. And this bottom spread on this page is the homestead and garden brain dump. This is where, oh, hey, I need to make sure this and this are getting done and XYZ. And the supplies down there, the corn, the barley, the pellet feed, the oyster shell, and the diatomaceous earth are all the different things that I need for my chickens. The cinder blocks, because we build raised beds, dirt, and plants. The raised beds are the easiest way for me to make sure that I have a garden, because the soil in the desert, there's a reason why it's called nature's concrete. So in order to have something, I build raised beds and we do cinder blocks, because the cinder blocks are a lot easier to move around than any other wall. I still don't have the greenhouse up yet. I kind of expected something to come up, and it ended up being my husband's EMT class. So, but yeah, he's busy as all hell, and there's only so much that I can do by myself, and there's only so much that I want to do by myself, you know? Like, yeah, I'm a stubborn woman. There's a lot that I can do, but that doesn't mean I'm obligated to do it by myself. If I want some company while I'm working on a project, I want some damn company when I'm working on said project. And we're currently still working on getting enough dirt that I can start amending it with the compost and the straw and everything from the chicken coop whenever I clean it out. And once I have all of my beds finally built, there's not going to be a lot of them, but once I have the ones that I need built, that will be enough garden stuff, planted garden stuff for me and my husband. I'll be rotating between the beds and letting one of the beds, because I'm going to have probably 7 in total. They heard a crow. I don't know if you could hear my dogs barking just now, but they heard a crow. I'm going to have 7 beds in total, and one of them is always going to be at rest, and I'm going to be rotating through them and letting stuff do what it needs to do, soil-wise and plant-wise. That way I'm not stressing out and overusing my soil to the point that it's my garden plants, my tomatoes, my cucumbers, whatever it is I'm planting, are extremely unhappy with me. And then the greenhouse is for the wintertime planting, because I can grow a lot of green leafy vegetables in the wintertime, and I'm looking forward to doing that. Left-hand side, we have got my hobbies and focus box, and on the bottom is my list for my husband of his reminders, important things, and appointments. And then the leftovers and the meal planning spread, pretty self-explanatory. On this left-hand side of the page, for this next set of spreads, this is my sleep tracker. And I am still playing around with that format of the earliest that I go to bed at any given time and the latest that I wake up. Let me tell you something. Being here on this homestead, a day where I sleep past 8 a.m., I'm either not on the homestead or I had a really rough day beforehand and my husband decided not to wake me up. Because he's usually awake way before I am. So we've got all the days on the left-hand side, and we've got the hours on the top. And this is one of the spreads where I get to have a little bit more fun with my decorations. So we've got a lot more blue flowers on this page than we do a lot of others. Now it is an adjustment going from the B5 back to an A5, but I do have to admit, you guys, I'm kind of wondering if maybe I shouldn't stay after I get done filling this A5, if I shouldn't move back into a B5. Partly just because I really like the size of the B5. Like it feels good using it, and just now I will let you know that because February is not quite over yet. I'm still in the B5 as I'm finishing out February, and I have used that poor Orchard and Olive B5 to the point that last night, which would be the 22nd of February, I was working in it and carrying things over, and I went to open it up to this week, and the spine finally cracked. So I have used that notebook to the fullest extent that one might be able to use it for. And now on the right-hand side here, we've got my reading retreat day. I have come to covet this day, something fierce. If I don't get at least a day where that I've been able to sit down, there's an Izzy tail, where I've been able to sit down guilt-free and just read all day if I want to, I get cranky. I will admit, I become a cranky woman. Because I've come to really just value that, just sitting down and not worrying about anything other than the normal chores, which are feeding the chickens and doing what I need to do with their feed. Which reminds me, coming up here in late March or early April, there will be a homestead catch-up vlog that I will be doing. Those were never really the more popular videos for my channel, but I know a lot of folks do like hearing about what's going on here on the homestead, so that's going to be late March, early April, somewhere in there. Because my hope is by that point in time, I'm going to have the garden planted, and I can show you guys that too. And hopefully the greenhouse built. We'll see. We will see. Because the greenhouse is a 2-person project. I think I mentioned that to you guys. Here we've got, I'm using this blue washi tape, which is from Libby or whatnot. It's a mandala or a mandala pattern washi tape. And there's like the full gambit of the rainbow in this box, and I absolutely love it. This is that blue washi tape that you see here on the left-hand side is probably my favorite out of the entire box. So I was like, yeah. We're using this in March. And for whatever reason, I decided to do the numbers on the right-hand spread for my diet tracker. Before writing in the titles for my 2 boxes over here on the left, I was kind of all over the place while setting this up. And I tend to try to do that just so that I keep having fun. But here on my diet tracker, as you can see, we've got several things that I keep track of. And it's a bit granular at this level of everything that I'm keeping track of. But there's a very good reason for that, and that is I'm trying to see what things make my PMS symptoms worse. Now, unfortunately, my ovarian rebellion has never been consistent. Ever. I heard a concerning noise, and it was just a cat playing in leaves. Okay. For those of you who actually know what a rattlesnake sounds like, yeah. Everything out here, you always hit the brakes and you're listening to see. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, my ovarian rebellion. It's never been consistent. So right now I'm trying to see if wheat is making my PMS symptoms worse. So I've been desperately trying to keep track of where my ovarian rebellion is in relation to my diet, and it gets interesting. I can tell you that. So we've got, in the top little square up there is my monthly tidy checklist. That's what gets done once a month. And then the weekly reset checklist. Oh, let me tell you guys something. I am so glad that I started a weekly reset routine. Right now it's on Sundays because that's the day that's been working out the best. And I get downright cranky on my weekly reset if it's not as complete as what I would like for it to be. That's the day I'm taking the longer than necessary hot showers and the body scrub and I'm paying attention to my fingernails and whatnot and all that, and just it's the day that I'm going, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this. I am not doing that. Like, there are some chores that if they fall on a Sunday, I'll push them off to Monday. It's just like, no, I'm not worrying about that today. Speaking of my ovarian rebellion, that got an entire page spread to itself this month because I wanted to do a bit more collaging with a lot of the paper that I had set aside for this month, and it was just like, yeah, no. That gets an entire page because I want to do a lot more decorating on this page. And that is one thing that I will have to make decisions on as I work in this A5 is, well, I could make this a half-page spread, but then I won't be able to decorate all that much. So if I give it a full-page spread, I can do a lot more decoration. And right now, that's kind of what I feel like I need. So April will probably have a lot more full-page spreads for each thing versus doing very practical, very space smart layouts of everything. Because, hey, if you need to be more creative when you're usually not, that's okay. That is perfectly okay. I think at this point on the channel, you guys know if you've been here for a while, but if not, if you're new, I'm not precious with my pages. I will use up as many pages as I need, which is part of the reason why in a B5, I only made it 5 months, whereas someone else in a B5 might make it 8. I don't tend to try to force myself to be precious with my pages, and I do my best not to ignore what my creative outlet needs, because being creative the way I've become with my bullet journal, it is a way of I don't want to say self-soothing because that's not quite right, but it does keep my anxiety from getting a little too crazy because, I've got the bullet journal set up so everything is ready to go, and it lets me be artistic in a way that I don't normally do, which has its own mental health benefits as well. Normally, my creative stuff is crochet. And I know you guys can probably just barely see down here in this little itty bitty window the circular decoration that is just over my shoulder over here opposite of the patch wall. But that's a piece of crocheted work. So. Now, for this particular A5, I'm not sure how long I'm going to be in the Tiefossi, just because, like I said, I'm not going to be precious with my pages. If I have a page that I need to put some kind of spread on, that is a brainstorming session, and that's what I'm going to do. And if it happens to fall in between a couple of days, then that's what's going to happen. Because this is a 190-page journal, I do expect to be able to fit March, April, and May in it. And if necessary, I will fudge a few things so that if it looks like I could fit June into it as well, but I would need to be a little bit more practical in my layouts, then I will do what I can to fit June into it as well. Because for July, because July is my birthday month, it's also the beginning of the second quarter of the year. I will be moving into a new notebook then, because I very much am finding that on the month of my birthday, having a fresh, clean, new notebook just is really nice. Like, that's something that I did last year, and so that's something I'm definitely going to be keeping doing, at least for this year. I might change my mind next year, we'll see. Here we've got the trackers. I do have a couple of trackers that I meant to add, but completely forgot to put them down on my master list. That's okay. I will probably not need them for March, and if I do, that's what all of my spare dot grid paper is for. I can always just make a new couple of mini calendars and take a paper clip and stick them in on this page if I need to. Now, you will note, as we get into this a little bit further, that I only put the numbers in one of the little mini calendar trackers. And I think I talked about this in February. I have found that I don't need the little mini numbers in all of them. As long as I have it in one of them, I'm fine. I don't need them in all of them. I do need the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday headers, because without those, that's a little too loosey-goosey. It's a little too loosey-goosey. So, also on this particular set of 2 pages, we have got the weekly chores, and then down beneath the weekly chores, we have got my writing hobby trackers. I should probably put the writing trackers on a page with keeping my hobbies in focus, but that doesn't feel as practical because my my hobbies and focus page I don't look at very frequently. So you'll note that I have a big gap here where nothing's happening. I had to go break up a cat fight again. So I didn't realize how long of a gap that was. It took several minutes. So for those of you who are curious about how long it took me to set up March, it took about 70 minutes in total between erasing previously done sketches of the spreads, drawing things in, deciding where I wanted to put decoration and whatnot. Now, my weeklies for March aren't really weeklies. They're not really dailies. So March begins on a Saturday this year, and for the daily / weekly kind of setups, March has half a page, and then on that particular Sunday, March 2nd, I'm going to be sitting down and doing a task brain dump of everything that needs done that week, and then from there I will be using the pages. I'll be doing, I'll add Monday's date, and then anything that comes to mind that I need to take care of on Monday, that'll be done on Monday. But I'll also be checking things off in the Sunday list, and I'm just going to use however many pages I need per week. Outside of that, there's not really a lot for this particular spread. For these particular spreads, that's a huge change from last month, other than the fact that I am working on just making sure I have what I need in the space I need in the notebooks to do said things. And now we're back. I actually had to cut out a couple minutes there because I hadn't realized how big of a gap that was. So it was like, oh, I should probably check that real quick. So, because as I'm talking to you guys down here, I'm also working on editing the actual setting up of the bullet journal video at the same time, because that's just how it's ended up being more effective for me. So in April, I'm going to be playing around with having my writing hobby tracker on its own page, because I'm starting to come down to the wire on actually getting the outlines for these 2 projects done. And then from there, I really need to start pushing myself and getting this writing done. But I'm also going to have, alongside of the 2 trackers, I'm going to have weekly goals, and then I'm going to have rewards for, well, I only did this much new content, but I got this much editing done. So we're going to give ourselves the treat of a movie that we have not seen in a really long time, or just the treat of a movie in general. Because I don't actually usually watch movies. I almost never watch movies anymore. I don't watch TV shows anymore. If I want to sit and relax and watch something, I'll go watch Jeremy Dooley or Tom Fox Among Us playthroughs, or Pokemon with them, or a variety of games. I'll go watch folks over on Hermitcraft. If I want to just have something going in the background because I don't want to read, but I still want to crochet and I still want to knit or whatnot, and I just want something going on in the background. And also a part of that is just because I greatly enjoy having something going in the background, but I don't want it to be a movie where I need to pay attention to every little thing going on, you know? So, there's the trackers. And here we're getting into the March 1st setup and the task dump for Sunday. Now I do have it set up in a little bit of an Alistair? I can never remember how to say it. This. I have it set up like that on Saturday, just so that when I do finally take care of it in the week, I can check it off in the box. And I might go ahead and keep doing that. I might set up my weekly task list like that, but that is highly dependent on what my needs are for that week. So give me just a second here. And at this point, this is where we get into the flip through. We've got my calendar page with my appointments, my egg total for the month, and the important dates. We have got the weather tracker, the bill tracker, the homestead and garden dashboard, and then we have also got my hobbies in focus. We have got my husband's list, the leftovers tracker, and the meal ideas. We've got the sleep tracker and my reading retreat day dashboard. We have the monthly tidy and the weekly reset checklist, my diet tracker. From here, we bop into my ovarian rebellion checklist, the 1 line a day spread, my mini trackers with my weekly chores along with my writing trackers, and then my pages that I'm going to be decorating as I go. And that's that. All right, you guys, thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. Take care of yourselves, hug your loved ones tight, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye!